Welcome to Dubrovnik, where we're kicking off the second season of TellyCast at New Europe Market, the leading TV industry event in the Central and Eastern European region. TV industry professionals from free-to-air networks, pay TV channels, cable and satellite operators, production, distribution and technology companies are gathered in the Dubrovnik Palace Hotel at one of the first real-life events following the pandemic. So the sun is out, the sky is blue, COVID tests are done, and we're ready for 3 days of panels, networking and parties as executives from all over the world come together to discuss the latest business trends, attend keynotes, screenings and do deals against the stunning backdrop of the Adriatic.
TellyCast, the TV industry news review.
On this week's show, I'm joined by Gábor Fischer, Programming Director at Hungary's TV2 Média, and Vlad Riashyn, President of Russia's Star Media. Plus, I'll be grabbing a quick chat with delegates from all around the world to discuss not only the CEE region, but the wider industry as we head into the ever-important fall period. And I chat with piracy expert Tim Pearson to ask what can be done about the issue that has perhaps become more prevalent in this region than many others. But first, let's talk about what it's like to get back to international business travel and attend TV market events now that we're all pretty much resigned to the fact that COVID's here to stay. I've had reports of the hit and miss experience of saliva testing at Cannes Film Festival and issues with online systems frustrating the market experience at a number of other events. So what's it like actually producing an international event under COVID conditions? Well, I caught up again with NEM organiser Sanja Ljubičić to see how the event came together. So welcome back to the show, Sanja. Thanks for making time in your really busy schedule for this conversation. So here we are in Dubrovnik, in the old town at NEM. How challenging has it been to put the market on together? We spoke about 4 weeks ago, the last show before we took our August break. How challenging has it been in those last 4 weeks to put this incredible event on?
Thank you for the kind words. It is an incredible event, right? Because it's in an incredible place with incredible people. And it's always challenging. Pandemic or not, it's always challenging. It's a lot of work and a lot of fine-tuning.
There's obviously a natural resistance for people to come to industry events, and yours is the first really sort of, I think, pan-genre international market that's happened, say, in the last 18
yes.
months. So can you take me through some of the challenges that you've had in putting this together? Or there are too many? I can see you're shaking your head. There are too many, right?
No, there are too many. And it was not challenging inviting people. If you are thinking about that, no. That was not the challenge. The challenge was to organize everything in a pandemic way. Yeah. With distancing and disinfectants, but everybody is vaccinated. Yeah. So the media are a very special group, and they get it, and they get vaccines. Yeah. That's right, exactly. So that's the starting point, right? Everybody's doubly vaccinated. Yes.
And then everybody's also got to prove they're negative to actually fly to get here and travel to get here, and also to test to actually get into the event. So
there are people from the States, there are people from all over Europe. Yeah. So countries with more cases and less cases, with stricter measures. But they're all here. Yeah. So they made an extra effort because they wanted to be here. Yeah. And I love them all for it. Yeah.
Our listeners can tell from the buzzy atmosphere we're here at the party on the Tuesday evening. But it's also been quite a buzzy atmosphere in the market as well. It's been great to see people getting back, and I know it sounds a simple thing, but just getting back and doing face-to-face those half-hour meetings, pitching meetings, and I think genuinely people seem to be quite invigorated by that.
Yes. It gives you an added energy that we all a bit lost in this year and a half, and we were, some of us, depressed. I know I was. And this is like an injection of life that somehow everybody's so happy.
Yeah.
And they say distancing. We all hugged.
Yeah.
The first question is, are you vaccinated? Yes. Okay, come here.
Yeah.
So we hugged. And people are really genuinely happy.
There's over 500 delegates here from all over the world, as you say. And some amazing sessions at the Zone. We've got all three media here. We've got representatives from all across the world. So it's great to see that. So maybe this is a bit early to ask you, but what about NEM Zagreb? When does that happen in the calendar, and will that be happening?
Yeah, in the calendar, it's in December. Well, I don't know if we'll have it this year. I'm not sure. I think not, because it would be too close to this one that we had to move because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
So,
and it would all have to be indoors, whereas,
yes.
What's unusual about this event is so many panels outside, and a lot of it is in the open air, which is...
Well, we try to follow everything all the governments are saying.
Yeah.
Get outdoors, get distancing. Well, we hugged, but what can you do?
Yeah. When we last spoke on TellyCast, you were talking about Pickbox, and you were talking about the Save the World from Your Couch campaign. Forgive me if I got the name of that wrong. How's Pickbox doing? How's that affected, the overall brand of Pickbox? And is it, you're presumably you're back to sort of normal business, if you like, on that SVOD service. How's things working out there?
Well, we never stopped with normal business. And, like SVODs go, it's ups and downs, more and less. But we never stopped working normal. So we acquire the normal amount of content for us that we usually acquire. It's doing well, considering that we're in the Balkans and Bulgaria. So it's doing okay. It's not like, wow, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But everybody knows us. Everybody knows we're good. So it's up and down.
Okay. Well, listen, thank you so much. You're incredibly busy. This is your event. You've got Pickbox. You've got your translation business as well. So I grabbed you for 5 minutes. Thank you so much for spending the time. Thank you, Sam.
We'll speak soon, I hope.
My next guests on the show represent two of the key players in the CEE region. Gábor Fischer is Programming Director at Hungary's TV2 Media, one of the leading commercial TV channels in Hungary, and Vlad Riashyn, President of Russia's Star Media, who are one of the biggest multi-genre producer distributors in Russia and the Ukraine. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you.
Great to see you both. This is the very first telecast that we've done in person. We've done 69 over the internet, so it's a pleasure to be with you and see you in real life. Gábor, coming to you first. Tell us about TV2 Media Group and your role in it.
Thank you very much, as I said, for the invitation. It's really a good thing that we can be here. I'm the programming director of TV2 Media Group from 2017. Before that, in 2016, I was promoted to the cable programming director of TV2 Group. Actually, I would like to say a few sentences about TV2 Group. In our life, 2015 was very important because in the past, TV2 belonged to ProSiebenSat.1 Group, but at the end of 2015, a Hungarian guy, a former Hollywood film producer, Andy Vajna, who was, for example, the producer of Terminator, bought the channel. And they had very big plans to build up a very strong and competitive portfolio. So I got the cable programming director position in 2016. It was so interesting because in the past I worked for our competitors, for RTL Hungary, and I worked on the cable side. So we launched and we built up many channels. So actually it was a huge challenge to build up again a little bit bigger portfolio. And just a few sentences about Hungary. That time, RTL Hungary was the market leader. They had one big channel, the terrestrial, which is RTL Club, and next to they have 7 cable channels. Their market share was approximately 30% on the market in 2016. Wow. And TV2 Group was almost only 15. So actually RTL Hungary was double than TV2. We had one big channel, the TV2, and 3 cable channels. And 2016 was really crazy. We launched 7 channels within half a year. We made 3 big repositionings. So at the end of the year, we had 14 channels together with TV2, and we acquired what we could. It was really, really tough period. We closed more than 70 different contracts with distributors. Wow. So it was really amazing. And the turning point was in 2018. And a few years passed, and now TV2 Group is a market leader, actually. So our cable is much stronger and better than the cable portfolio of RTL. We are market leader with TV2 all day. Group is also market leader. But if I would like to be fully honest, the only thing where we have challenges when we compare TV2 prime time with RTL Club prime time. But we are working on it. So as I said, we have many channels. We wanted to cover all of the market with the different genres. So really we have a movie channel, a series channel, secondary commercial channel. We have telenovela channel, another movie channel, retro series, comedy, lifestyle series, 2 sports channel, one cooking show, 1 local music show, and the kids channel. So it was really I think an experience being part of this project, because we learned a lot, we worked a lot, and finally the result came. So here we are at the moment. This is TV2.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
That's great. Now, in terms of content that works well on the TV2 channel, tell us what works with that particular channel and what are the Hungarian audiences liking to consume?
Actually, first I would like to talk about TV2. In afternoon, we are broadcasting Turkish series. They works quite well. After that, we have a news, and in prime time, we are producing many local production. Actually, I'm proud because we are producing really the best brands of the world. Just a few key brands what we are producing for the fall. Game of Chefs will be on air in 2 weeks. We produced Ninja Warrior, Farm VIP. So actually in Hungary, during the weekdays, we had daily programs from Monday till Friday. Yep. And for the weekend, we are producing the best shows. Saturday will be the day of the Dancing with the Stars. And Sundays, we are broadcasting Your Face Sounds Familiar. It's really one of the biggest brands of the country.
So lots of formats.
So a lot of formats. It's quite busy. So
yeah, absolutely. Coming to NEM, what content are you now looking to acquire at this market? And do you produce original programming as well?
So actually, NEM is, yes, as you said, it's important for us. We have many channels, so we have to feed them up. So actually, I would say we are, I'm not saying that we are buying everything, but, so we are interested about many content. Mostly, TV2 is very important. We have to keep the connections with the big suppliers, with the big distributors. But I think it's a perfect moment that we can catch up. We can keep the relationship with the distributors, with partners. Actually, in the last 1.5 years, of course, we made many Zoom meetings, but that's different. So when you have a nice cocktail party or just talking somebody with the lobby, all the time you can get some kind of information which can be useful for the future. It makes
a difference to be
in person, absolutely. It's different. It's part of the life, and we found also in the past few formats based on this information. So we are looking actually content for TV2, and I would say opportunities for the future, because Hungary is quite competitive, and all the time the audience needs newer and newer formats. So we cannot get bored never.
Yeah, honestly. Absolutely. About COVID, I mean, we're talking about, obviously, we've all been through it. It obviously changed a number of different aspects of the industry and different territories. How did it affect TV2 in the last 18 months?
Actually, it was also quite tough and challenging for us. It started its big impact around mid-March in 2020. First, we had to stop everything. Of course, we had to organize, all of the company went home. And, when you are broadcasting many channels, it's a quite big challenge that everybody is working at home. And meanwhile, as we stopped the shows, we had to think on how we can start them again. And that time, nobody knew what will happen with COVID, what will be the future. And, the TV is difficult because today you are talking about something, you have to order the things, you have to make contracts with suppliers, with peoples. And it's difficult when you don't know what's happening in the future. And if you don't make a decision in April, May about the fall grid, the fall programming strategy, there will be a point where nothing will be on air. The only few negative things that we planned some big shows. We wanted to produce Peking Express. It's like a travel reality show to the Philippines. And we realized in May that one thing that we would like to do, but it's physically impossible. Yeah. So we had a quite different fall, but sooner or later we were able to restart the productions.
And you're back in full swing now.
Yes.
Okay. Obviously, we saw the rise of SVOD and AVOD in particular, changing the market in territories all around the world. I'm presuming it was the same in Hungary?
I think it will be also the future. Regarding TV2 Group, we launched our digital platform. It's called TV2 Play this February. We just launched its application just a few weeks ago. It's based on an AVOD platform. This belongs to a digital department of TV2 Media Group. We have some plans. These are a little bit confidential at the moment, but we know that's part of the future. Of course, we will consider the SVOD, so we are working on it. So it's also important.
Well, good. All the best with that.
Thank you very much.
And in terms of markets, we're here in Dubrovnik. What other markets will you be planning to attend between now and the end of the year?
We really hope that MIPCOM will happen, only 4 weeks, and we should travel. If it's happening, we are planning to go there. I think it's important for the market because, as I told you previously, everybody can organize Zoom meetings and similar Teams meeting, etc. But we need a personal relationship. We have to keep the connections, and I really hope that because what we have seen at NEM, they organized in a very, very professional way. For example, the welcoming party was outside on the rooftop. So I think we can do it. So I hope that MIPCOM will happen. And in this case, TV2 Media Group will definitely to join it. And here we are, I think. So this will be the main event for us this year.
Well, it was great. There was an outdoor panel last night, which is the first time I've seen an outdoor panel, which is it's got to be the future, I think. Vlad, welcome to the show. You've just come in from Venice, right? So you've been at the Venice Film Festival, straight to NEM, and you're obviously from Moscow in terms of your business. So that must have been quite problematic, doing all those flights and going in and out of different territories and markets. How was that? How was the experience of traveling been for you?
Thank you very much for the invitation. I have a really very interesting trip because I came from Moscow to Venice. After 2 days, today I came to Dubrovnik, and the day after tomorrow I'm going to Kiev. So during 1 week, 4 cities, and of course in the time of COVID, it's a very interesting experience. So all of us, we need to make tests each 2-3 days. Yeah. So it's like going to the office,
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So tell us about Star Media then. Give us a background to the business and how it's developed over the years.
Yeah, this year we are celebrating an anniversary, 15 years of Star Media in the market. Of course, my previous experience helped in the setup of the company because I started my career in the television more than 30 years ago.
Right.
Back in 1990s. I was an author, host and producer of different projects. My first project was a musician show, which called Melorama, in a small commercial station in Zaporozhye city in Ukraine. After that, in 1996, I started to work in Ukrainian national television channel Inter, and going through, I think, all steps at the channel. At the beginning of Millennium, I started to be a chairman of the board of Inter TV channel. But the history of Star Media began in 2006. Today, Star Media is a producer, distributor, and of different kind of television content. We produce in series, documentaries, feature films. and so on. And of course, we started some years ago to co-produce and to make co-production projects with different partners in Europe. And our last project, which we appreciated, it's another business model. Is we organize service for the Netflix and the feature film, which were the Netflix at the end of July, with starring Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Right.
The Last Missionary. So this film, all shooting service in Ukraine, organized our company.
All right.
So it's another type of business for us. But anyway, this film is really very nice. We collaborate with the leading TV channels in Russia and Ukraine with streaming services. We develop our own pay TV channels 3 years ago, and they're working now. We being the largest content aggregator in CIS countries in YouTube. We have a multi-channel net in YouTube. It's more than 65 channels and for more than 26 million subscribers right now.
Well, it sounds like you've got it all sewn up, Vlad. It's incredible. So you're actually producer, distributor.
Yeah.
You actually have you're an aggregator, and you have
Yes.
your own.
We try
pay
to
TV as
diversify our business model.
Yeah.
I think it's very important in such period like today.
You recently made the move into docudrama. Tell us about that.
Yeah, one of our departments are specialized in docudramas, and one of our biggest, most popular, docudrama is 8 hours series The Romanovs. We sold it more to 100 countries around the world.
Right.
You can find it in Amazon Prime, for example,
Yep.
and in a lot of different streamers, also services. We're making a lot of reconstructions for our docudramas, and honestly speaking, now we're thinking to make a special pay TV channel which is specialized on our docudramas, historical series. I'm sure that we will have special handle our new OTT platform, which we launch this month.
Right.
It's absolutely fresh news because it's going to the like press release yesterday.
Okay.
Honestly speaking, and until the end of September, we started to be at the smart TV in iOS and Android, in Roku,
Okay.
and so on in around the world in our streaming service, which called Lava.
Okay.
Do you know that Lava is one of the words which mean the same in all languages?
Okay.
In Russian, in English, I think in Hungarian too. So the lava from Vulcania.
Yeah.
Lava.
Lava, yes.
Okay. All right.
So this is the name of our new streaming service and of our
Worldwide new brand.
yes.
All right. Well, we'll put links in the episode description to both the TV2 Play and to Lava as well, so everybody can go there and have a look at that. What about projects that you're developing and producing right now? Tell us what's going on.
Tomorrow will be the premiere here at NEM of our co-production project, which the name of this project is Silence. It will be part of Beta Night. We worked on it together with our partners, the Croatian company Drugi Plan, the German distributor Beta Film, and the Ukrainian streaming service All TV. It is directed by Dalibor Matanic. By the way, he was recently awarded on Series Mania in the International Panorama for his new project. So now we are in post-production. I invited you tomorrow to the Beta Night premiere to have a look this first episode of this 6 hours series. This is one of our important projects. Another one, it's a unique and amazingly true-to-fact documentary film which called Bolshoi, Rise and Fall Behind the Curtain.
Okay.
And we produce it in partnership with the international company Kinescope Film. It's a German company, Arte, Salzburg. And it is a story about the offstage life of the best-known Russian theater.
Bolshoi Ballet.
Theater.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, right.
So we following Bolshoi during the year. So we started on September last year,
Right.
and we stopped at August this year. So during 1 year, we shooted all days, all preparations, all premieres of Bolshoi Theater.
That's amazing access.
I hope that it will be very interesting, and I hope that it will be also not only the streaming services, not only the TV channels like Arte, for example, but also maybe in the theaters.
Yeah.
I hope.
Okay.
I hope. Yeah. You can find it. It is now at Netflix, so you can find it. What you cannot find right now, but we are working on it together with the French partners. We are working on a new feature film which called Shtetl. Shtetl is in Jewish. It's like small village, and it is feature film, which we shot it some months ago in Ukraine.
Yeah.
And it was by the real story it was the village, Jewish village, on the border of Ukraine with Poland before the World War II coming to the Soviet Union. And the story happens during one day on the 21st of June. 22nd, the Germans started their attack.
Yeah.
And during one day, this story happened and finished when Germans came.
All right.
And this amazing story is directed by French director Eddie Walter. It's a story of love and friendship between young people in a small, this shtetl Jewish town. The deep thing in this film that, of course, we all of us, we need to, and COVID time also proved that this is a real thing, that we need to live all our day like the last one.
You're right. It's really opened our eyes to I think, how we live our lives. Now, talking about formats, we were talking about formats earlier on with Gábor. You've recently just joined Frapper. You seem to have all of the bases covered, and obviously in formats as well. So tell us about your ambitions in formats as well.
During the last 15 years, we adapted more than 20 scripted formats, including Mistresses and Dr. Forrest from BBC, The Closer and Mentalist from Warner Brothers, Fox's Awake, which is now in Russian biggest streaming platform, Eevee. Our adaptation, now is there, and Medium from CBS also now is in production, and currently for one of our flagship shows is in adaptation of Israeli drama Your Honor, which you could see the Showtime American version, Israeli version, and now we at the final stage of shooting our own version with one of the biggest Russian stars, Oleg Menshikov, as the main hero. So, and I hope that it will be a big success. We are making our original formats available for adaptation, like Detective Anna, which is a big hit at the Amazon Prime now. Live After Life, Go Dance, and so on. So, for speaking about Frappa, I also have to say that at the beginning of this year, we started our own anti-piracy service, which called Content Scan. Now we're making this anti-piracy service for more than 40 different partners, especially in Russia and Ukraine and CIS countries. But now we're also speaking with some Hollywood studios, with some big companies, and also discuss with Netflix, because we have seen how many links of the Last Missionary we can found in Russia and Ukraine, for example. For us, anti-piracy is one of the main directions. We understanding that all of us, all of our legal producers who wants to create with talented directors, actors, scriptwriters, talented shows. Of course, we need to monetize. We need to work in the legal world.
Of course, yeah. Well, we're also going to be talking to Tim Pearson, who's a piracy expert elsewhere on the show. So we know it's a key issue for Central and Eastern European industry. So talking about NEM, you're here direct from Venice. What are your key objectives in Dubrovnik?
Participation in NEM is not our first experience. Honestly speaking, we are always glad to collaborate and ready to support panel discussions here, share our experience and find new international partners. And I'm very glad when I came after the plane, my first steps in this hotel, the market, and I have seen my friends. It's Dariusz Jablonski, famous Polish producer and director, and my partner of our previous co-production project, The Pleasure Principle, which we produced with him and with Czech television, and it was on the air at Arte, at Rai in Italy, in Canal Plus in Poland, and 1+1 in Ukraine, and Nebojša from Drugi Plan from Croatia, and some guys from Beta Film who are also here. Yeah. So of course, I have to say that our project, The Silence, which I explained about that before, it born here. Not here, but in Zagreb, but at the NEM.
Oh, really?
Last year, yes. We seated with a cup of coffee with Nebojša, with guys from Beta Film. And Nebojša told about this IP, which he found because our series based on the one hand on real stories, but on the other hand by the books.
Yeah.
And he told us this story. And both of us, our company, me personally, and guys from Beta Film said, "Look, it's very, very interesting. So maybe we can develop and we can start it to do." And now, after not 2 years ago, and after 2 years, now the premiere of the first episode will be also at the NEM. So this is for us NEM.
Well, that's a good case study there for Sanja and the NEM team. And now it's that time in the show where my guests get to nominate their hero of the week and who or what they're telling to get in the bin. Gábor, who's your hero of the week?
For me, the hero of the week, I think the Hungarian Paralympics team, because it just finished and Hungary achieved 60 medals, 7 gold, 5 silver and 4 bronze. And I think it's a great result because Hungary is not a big country. And finally, we achieved the 18 positions among the countries. So I think all of the Hungary is really proud of about our team. So for me, they are the story of the week.
Yeah. So you should be proud of them. That's a fantastic achievement. And who or what are you telling to get in the bin?
I would mention myself because...
you're throwing yourself in the bin.
Yeah, I should, honestly. So everybody mentioning that how important is the market. And I have to tell you a story. We had a flight yesterday from Vienna to Dubrovnik. We left Budapest, and after 30 minutes, my girlfriend just called me that maybe with big chance her key is in my luggage, and I had to stop, and I noticed it was true. So can you imagine when she said she has a very important meeting with someone, and I closed the door, so I have to come back. And meanwhile, as I finish this conversation, I have to notice the faces of my colleagues who consider there is a big chance that we will miss the plane in Vienna. So first I had to tell, don't worry, I'm controlling the situation. And meanwhile, I have to see that they were really, really worried about that there is a huge chance that we will miss it. So I had to run back and I just put into the GPS that Vienna airport, and it was quite tough. But finally, we were at the gate 5 minutes before it was closed, so we could manage. But I think so. I have to nominate myself to this position, honestly.
Well, that is the first self-nomination. So, so congratulations there, and I'm glad that you caught the flight. Finally. You caught the flight, and I mean that's the joys of international travel again, right?
Yes.
So how about you, Vlad? Who's your hero of the week?
My hero of the week is our director of our show, The Silence, Dalinor Matanic, because he just got a Grand Prix award at Series Mania International Panorama with another show, not our, but I hope that maybe next his Grand Prix will be with our show. So anyway, he is my hero of the week.
Well, congratulations to him. And who or what are you telling to get in the bin, Vlad?
Oh, villain of the week for me is our financial manager. She didn't pay in time to one of our very talented director, and he was very nervous.
Oh no!
So please, all financial managers, pay in time to these directors.
Quite right. That's right. Accounts departments, when they're late on paying, when you're in service business, it's we all know that feeling. Listen, Vlad, Gábor, thank you so much for coming on the show. Really enjoyed speaking to you. Good luck at the market. It's been really fascinating to hear about Star Media and TV2. Good luck. We'll see you very soon.
Thank you very much. Hope the same. Thank you.
Well, I said we'd have some international guests as well as those from the Central and Eastern European region. It's always great when you come to a market and you bump into a familiar face. And I'm delighted to bump into Paul Heaney, CEO of BossaNova. Paul, how are you?
Yeah, lovely to see you. Yeah, no, I'm very well, thank you. Very well. No, lovely to see you. Isn't it good? We did bump into each other literally yesterday. So.
We did, yeah. And we're here in, literally just paint the scene. You can obviously hear in the background there's party going on. There is a pool. We're next to the pool, but, we are obviously fully attired, in business attire. What's it been like setting up a brand new distribution business in the middle of lockdown?
It's been absolute hell. There's no other way of describing it. Anyone who says, but there are challenges, we rose to them. Sorry about that. But it was hell. And I must admit, the first 3, 4, 5 months even were just so hard. It was like running through treacle uphill, if I hadn't mixed my metaphors, which I possibly have. But it was just so tough. And I'd say from sort of March, April, it's been brilliant. And isn't it funny how time moves on, time heals? I only look back when someone asks me to look back. Otherwise, God, it sounds like I'm some sort of self-help book available in good bookshops. Now, it does sound a bit like that, but actually you move on so quickly. I didn't think I could, didn't think I would. But actually, BossaNova has been a godsend, and I'm really grateful for setting it up now and to all the help I've had in doing it and all the support I've had from producers and buyers. So, and I'll make sure we repay that. The industry as a whole, we can all sort of just get a little bit more positive now. We're coming into a more positive time, and I think I just thought, why wouldn't I go to the first face-to-face market that there's been for a year and 3 quarters? Okay, it's not in the most fashionable part of Europe, but then anyone who knows me knows I'm not one of the most fashionable people. Well, I'd argue with that, but that's their opinion.
Without exception, when things happened with Q, and we won't go into those, but
no, we can. I'm happy to if you want to.
For me, everybody that I spoke to when you were going through all this has had an enormous amount of respect for what you've done. And, built up a business, then obviously, gone to bed with a partner that possibly wasn't the best partner for you. But now, and again, I'm mixing my metaphors, you hit the canvas or whatever, but you're back in the ring, very much so, and fighting. And it's great to see you here at a market getting on with it. Tell us a bit about BossaNova then. Tell us about how, what the setup is and what your vision for the company is.
Yeah, I think we came up with a strapline of, and thank you for those words, by the way, that's very kind of you, and any goodwill is gratefully received, and I like to try and reciprocate that. That's the way I think we should all be coming out of this. It was a horror story, that December to June time last, December 19 to June 20. It was horrific. However, look what else happened during that time to a lot of other people. So, you know what, it feels a little bit self-indulgent. Yes, shit happens, and it did happen, but a whole load of other shit happened, which was far worse to a lot of other people. So, to be honest with you, yes, it did, and that old adage of what doesn't kill you makes you stronger absolutely applies to that period. And you said about hitting the canvas and you're back in the ring. Let's carry on the mixed metaphors. Now I feel like I've gone back into the bear pit. It feels like it's a sort of like you just have to go down there and you're out there challenging for shows and challenging for rights, and and getting close to broadcasters again and listening to them and not listening to them and then pretending that you're listening to them, but no, you are listening to them. But I'm just saying, you have to go back at everyone and you have to challenge everyone. You have to say, right, okay, do you really need all those rights? Can we work a different way? Every single model that we've ever worked with before in terms of distribution agreements and license agreements is up in the air. And I think with BossaNova, I've got an ideal opportunity to just not deliberately rip everything up and start again, though that is a lovely, lovely thing to be able to do sometimes, I must admit. It's very liberating to be able to just say, fuck it, why don't we just do it this way? But at the same time, so we've taken on Jasmine Joseph as marketing manager, who arrived in October, and Jazz has been amazing, sort of basically, as a 24-year-old, she's incredible and she knows it, hopefully. I only tell her every day, most of the time. But I think, Jazz really has sort of got us moving fast. And then we've just 2 months ago picked up Tatiana Kostovsky, who was at Banijay. A breath of fresh air, someone I hadn't worked with before. So I love that combination now of Jasmine, I worked with at TCB for 4 years, maybe slightly more, and she was a callow 19-year-old, and now is like world-weary 24-year-old. She isn't, but I think having a combination of people that I've worked with before and people that I haven't is really good. Saying that, there's nothing wrong with TCB. Someone says it's TCB Mark II, I'm very happy with that, but it isn't. It's just BossaNova, and we're going to look at it differently. And we say about a new wave in distribution. I do believe that. I do believe that it's time now we have to take it on the chin, but we've got to take on a lot more risk. There's no getting away from that. And I'm also looking to help mentor and coach as many people as I can because of what I've been through as well. So if there are other distributors out there who are worried, I can help. And I know the small to mediums, it's all a very, very, very competitive world, but distributors used to talk to each other. We used to collate and sort of collaborate and cooperate. Oh, there's lots of code words in there. But it's almost like it was planned. But we can do that, we can, but it's just a fearful, paranoid world. It's probably not likely to happen, but there are lots of lessons learned that I've learned that I know now that having the reset button I was able to push has been a massive bonus.
How do you set up a post-COVID distribution business from scratch? And how do you do it differently? That's the other thing, because are the rules different now?
We were 21 million turnover with 21 people, actually, more or less, by the end of 19, more or less. So I think what you do is you have a very lean operation, and that's nothing against the stars that were at TCB. And I think, hopefully all of them, and I'm in touch with most, if not all of them, most of the time, is that they should all take a bow, because they should all be proud of what they did, and I hope the legacy, or whatever you now call TCB, is stays on, because we did things really cleverly. We took some risks. Not all of them paid off. The nails weren't ready to be, sort of put into the coffin of TCB, but it did happen. It was sort of, moved on as a brand. But now we've got the chance to learn what we did before, have a much leaner team. You don't need as big a team now, because of, we're all learning. All businesses are learning about how many people you can have in a business. We're now Soho-based, which apparently I'm now learning that Central London is the centre of London rather than West London, which for 21 years I thought West London was the centre of London. And it took me a while to work that one out. Geography was never my strong subject at school. I think lean is the key. Everything we ever did, I'm just questioning. And I think, we don't want to change for the sake of change, but everything. How big a sales team do you want? How do you want acquisitions to work with sales? How do you want finance and HR and marketing and business affairs? How do you want that to work? How do you want it to liaise with each other? So for the first time, and I'm getting on a bit, there's no doubt about that. Hopefully it's most of the meetings I'll have soon will be in the dark. This has been a chance to just completely start again, and I've really, really relished it. So sorry, the long answer to the short question, Justin, is just start very lean. Also, the other thing I'd say is forget catalogues, forget building up. Though, listen, we've got the CJZ Greenstone catalogue, which has been a massive godsend, not just to me as the first salesperson, but also to Tatiana as the second salesperson joined as well, because she now has content to sell that's ready now. Whereas when you're building up content that you want straight away, it takes a bit of time. I don't want to do what we did before, which was maybe take on one too many fishing series. Sorry about that, ex-colleagues. Maybe we did that, and now's the chance that we can actually just look at it. And the world isn't just premium. I think that's the other thing. We're not just we can't get seduced too much by the non-linear market to say, oh my God, we all want premium. That's not the way the world is right now. We have to respond to what is in front of us. What's in front of us is a non-linear and a linear market. So let's go for 1 to 4 parters, medium budgets, small budgets, large budgets on that side. Let's go to returnable, repeatable, scalable. My favourite phrase. Thank you, Charlie Parsons at Nat Geo, for giving me that one.
You talk about risk. And you mentioned risk earlier on. Now, you've had investment as well in the business, haven't you?
Yes.
So what was the thinking behind that? Is that presumably to get to 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds? Or tell me about that. No,
it absolutely wasn't. I mean, I want to do 0 to 60. If you want to, look, you started the car analogy now, so I'm going to have to let that one out.
Yeah.
I'm doing 0 to 60 in an Austin 1100, possibly. That's had better days, that's maybe done 260,000 miles, I'm sorry, or maybe even a VW Combi. Now I want to do 0 to 60, let's just do it. If we see an opportunity, we'll go for it. If we want to grow, we'll grow quickly. But the brilliant thing about meeting the Night Train guys, and I don't know whether it's Night Train, the philosophy there, versus the way the Anglo-Saxon way, which is build a company up quickly and sell it, which is what I've been used to in the past. This is all about let's grow a business and actually enjoy it.
What does investment deliver? A pot of cash in the bank, but what does it deliver from a strategic perspective for you?
I've invested a lot of money into BossaNova already. So I wanted an investor to come in and put investment into running the business, and also then give us a pot of money and have a strategy that they would agree with too. Just to invest in content, just content, nothing else. So a completely separate facility just for content, not a sort of to hive off to sort of pay bonuses or pay for offices. That's just for content. So that was such a brilliant thing that we collaborated on. The actual deal to do this was something that we both worked on, Night Train and BossaNova, and it will work really well because they see the projects that we're working on. They're mainly unscripted, but there's a sort of trust there, and they're very much content people, and so far it's working brilliantly. They're very, very clear parameters about how we work. It's early days, but they just want to start this off, get the facility working, and then let's see what happens in the future. Maybe, if we can make the investments that we've made turn into a profit or look like a healthy investment, then who knows? And I'm not banking on anything at the moment. I want to sashay across the finish line this year, end of December, with whatever number we get revenue-wise, and not panic too much, and then maybe just ratchet up the pressure on us as a team next year. But there's no rush. I want to enjoy this, and also I want that to be passed on. There's a lot of producers out there that need our help. I want to make sure we pick the right projects, and if you're doing a sort of mind map, which sadly I often do, about the genres that we want to work in, I want to make sure that we pick a broad base of genres, but not just because we want to be broad based, because distributors all know to their cost there's no point being broad based if some of those bases out there just don't turn a profit. There's no point in doing it. So we will work to where the profit lines are, but we'll also try and be as broad as possible in terms of genres and subjects, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And one last question, because I know, as everyone can probably hear, there's a party going on in the background, and I don't want to delay you from that point. You're here in Dubrovnik at NEM. Why?
It was an opportunity that I didn't understand why more people didn't take. This is fantastic for people's well-being to be here. We're seeing buyers face-to-face. We're seeing other distributors face-to-face. I'm seeing journalists and producers like yourself face-to-face. Why isn't this a good idea for a few days to come out? I mean, we're busy. Listen, August has been way too busy in my opinion. August is not supposed to be like this, and it was. We're now in September. and MIPCOM looks like it's going to happen much bigger than we initially thought, pending various regulations that are coming. Why wouldn't I? Tatiana's here as a colleague. I wouldn't mind giving her support if she needs it, but she hasn't needed it so far, and I don't think she will. But I just felt it was not even a double-edged sword, a triple-edged sword. I think it was many benefits to coming out here for a few days to start talking to people and actually getting back into practice of doing back-to-back meetings and maybe multitasking and not just sitting like a muppet, according to the organiser of this event, in front of Zoom, as she said on your telecast back in July. So I thought that was very funny. Muppets. It actually was very descriptive about, it looks like the Muppet Show. Not that you look like Muppets, but it looks like the Muppet Show, just in case that comes across wrong.
Well, I'm really glad that you did. It's great to sit down and have a quick chat, Paul. Thank you for the time. And perhaps we might have a sundowner in a minute.
Yes. But listen, we are working though, aren't we, Justin?
Yes, very hard. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you. Cheers.
Well, another friendly face that I've bumped into here at NEM Dubrovnik is Maria Rua Aguete from Omdia. How are you, Maria? You've been on the show before. Lovely to see you again.
Nice to see you, and nice to see you in this wonderful sunny location, Dubrovnik.
I know. Let's not rub it in for the listeners at home too much, but we're very lucky to be here, and it's a super event. So obviously you're here having lots of meetings with lots of different businesses from CEE, but you're also moderating a panel called Is Streaming the Future of Sports, which is obviously a really interesting subject and a key area for discussion. One of the members of the panel was Peter Parmenter from DAZN, and they did a little keynote, 15-minute keynote, talking about where they are right now and where they're going, which I thought was really, really interesting. Can you just give us a flavour of the panel, what was discussed and what the key takeaways were?
Yes, thank you. So yes, Peter did this 15-minute keynote, and you could see how the audience was so excited to hear about sports content, how passionate, how many emotions sports generates, and they were very excited because sports is one of the critical key rights that people want to have here in the region. As two of the panelists said, we have Croatian Telecom, we had A1 Croatia, and we have from Bulgaria the CEO of BossaNova. And they all said, for us, sports is critical and having the rights is important. Sometimes we cannot acquire them ourselves because they're very expensive. So partnering with companies like DAZN, it will be so important to us.
Yeah.
So it was interesting how they were the ones asking Peter at DAZN, Peter, are you interested in partnering with us? Because we know a secret of the success of the company is partnerships around the world with Telefonica, Sky, in Germany, in the US, in Japan, with many companies. What about with the smaller players? What about us in this region? And Peter said, of course, it's challenging when you speak, different countries have different challenges, but he was very open to have conversations with all of them and start partnerships in this region as well. At the moment, they're very active in 9 countries. They have rights for some sports like boxing in more than 200.
Yeah.
So Peter again said to the audience, we are supersized in 9 countries. We would love to expand to many more. Will any country in Eastern Europe comes next? Who knows? It depends, of course, of the interest and if it makes economic sense as well.
And scale, obviously, is really key for DAZN, isn't it? And I mean, I guess it's getting that balance between scale, but also the huge, very expensive rights, sports rights that they acquire, and obviously is driving their strategy. So it's interesting to think that there could be local players that they might partner with.
Of course, and I think he hinted at in the panel, and also we talk not just about live sports that obviously everyone is crazy about, but what about other types of content around the sports? What about documentaries? What about series around the sports?
Yeah.
I think Stan from BossaNova said it himself. Sometimes we need to forget about the big live events, Champions League or these huge events, and think more about local heroes in local countries.
Yeah.
He in Bulgaria said, what about if we do series documentaries about our local heroes, not well known outside Bulgaria, but very important for our local audiences.
Yeah.
So everyone agreed that local content is not just for serious drama, also for the world of sports. So it can be a local team from the nation, it can be a very small regional city team, so you need to think outside the box, and that everyone in the panel agreed. And another topic that I really like and I would love to say here today, women in sports.
Yes.
So the show made this announcement with YouTube, trying to reach new audiences and new fans. They have the rights for UEFA Women's Champions League.
Yeah.
Fantastic to promote the women in sports, but it was also interesting how the guys from Croatia said, at the moment, we are not really ready, or we don't think there is that appetite for that type of content, but maybe in a couple of years it will be.
Yeah.
So I think companies like The Sun promoting it, talking a lot about it in social media, creating noise about this kind of sports will help the whole world to promote other types of sports involving women as well. So I think that was another highlight of the show. Partnerships, local content, women in sports.
Yeah. ITV, they just announced a deal for the English Lionesses team.
Yes.
Recently, and we've seen through cricket in the UK, the 100 has really increased the awareness of women's cricket as well. So this is a real growth area, right, for women's sport that has really largely been ignored, which is going to it's a really exciting new opportunity for broadcasters around the world to perhaps get sports rights for a fast-growing new sector.
Exactly, and that's why I thought it was fascinating, because when asked the question here in Croatia, I think the telcos were not really prepared or thought about how they can monetize women in sports, but this is food for thought. Yes, if someone doesn't start broadcasting it, promoting it, advertising it, using social platforms, social media, using YouTube, TikTok and other ways to promote it, obviously it will never grow. So
and what we're seeing now, obviously, in the world of sports, particularly football, obviously, is the power of brands now. I mean, Cristiano Ronaldo has got his own brand, and Messi, but also, if you look at Barcelona, Manchester United, hate to say it, but anyway, Manchester United and Real Madrid, some of these big brands, their women's teams. Their women's teams, that's an opportunity for channels to buy into those brands, but also to help this fast expanding area of sport.
100%. So if there are many brands listening to us today, it's good to pay attention. Right now is the right moment to invest, to promote, and to help communities, and not just women, because again, women in sports is not just for the audience will not just be women, it will be everyone, and attract new generations, young people, Generation Alpha, everyone. So yes, I think it was another hot topic in the panel, the use of social media, the use of TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah, and as you say, DAZN partnering with YouTube for the Women's Champions League was a really interesting move.
Win-win situation,
So well, it's a really fascinating area for discussion. Thank you for sharing the highlights of the panel, Maria, and hope to have you on TellyCast again in the near future.
I hope so. Looking forward to that.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
So piracy is an issue that keeps coming up when discussing the Central and Eastern European TV territories. Vlad mentioned it earlier in the show, and it's also something that's come up for discussion in one or two of the panels here at NEM. So how big a problem is it? And as the industry becomes ever more digital dependent, what can be done about it? I'm joined by Tim Pearson, Senior Director of Solutions Marketing at NAGRA, the provider of content protection and service security, to shed a little light on this. Hi, Tim. Welcome to TellyCast.
Hi there. Thanks very much. Great to be here.
Well, thank you for joining us. So, content piracy, how big a problem is it globally and in particular in Central and Eastern Europe?
We've all seen the explosion of streaming, and that's largely been accelerated by the pandemic. And really, as the industry has gone to OTT, and particularly as it's gone direct to consumer, we've seen a very fast follow for each of those moves by the pirates. So as each of those moves, and then as the growth increases as well, then we continue to see that sort of, I guess, continuing growth in piracy as well. And that can be driven by any number of reasons. I mean, I think if we look at it from a consumer angle, then consumers are sort of increasingly subscription stacking. They're getting all their content from different sources, and sometimes a frustration can lead to them, taking the path of least resistance, and sometimes that may take them towards a piracy site, of which a number are pretty genuine looking on the face of it. And then you look at the price, and like the old adage, if it's too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah. So why does CEE have such a problem with it?
Well, I think if we look at what's there, then really, as I said, consumers tend to take the path of least resistance. And in the CEE region, there does seem to be a particular prevalence of piracy. We were part of a case last year that shut down a ring, or a rapid IPTV ring, and as part of that, they offered a number of CEE bouquets, or barrels of channels that were made available. So I think there's clearly an appetite for content, and a lot of the piracy is driven by a sort of a question of around content availability versus accessibility, and particularly that can include price. So I think sometimes then that's very much a driver. I think there's also quite a lot of sort of appetite for pirate content. And there's some of it is being created in the region too. And that's why we're seeing, efforts, and particularly friends at the United Group, really driving a sort of an industry coalition to really address this in the region.
How is content pirated then? How sophisticated and organised are pirates today? I mean, I'm sure they're not got cutlasses and swinging from the yard, but I mean, what is a pirate operation like? I mean, are they pretty big concerns?
The swashbucklers are. It's certainly a long way from that. I think that's what everybody always conjures up when you talk about piracy. You think about people in a back bedroom somewhere, like with streaming or copying content. I mean, fundamentally, all piracy starts from an illicit copy somewhere. Now, whether or not it's been restreamed, it's been rebroadcast, whatever, but that's where it starts. Instead of that sort of back bedroom analogy, I think piracy today is pretty much large-scale organised crime. I mean, that's a big statement. But if we look at some of the cases we've been involved with across Europe, when the seizure orders go in, they're seizing sort of millions in cash, and also sort of large value assets as well, like cars and properties and so on and so forth. So piracy is a sophisticated business. There's a lot of the skill set that are being used by pirate groups that really is very technically adept. And so that means that certainly for us in the industry, then keeping one step ahead and helping our customers sort of do that through decent security strategies that include things like watermarking and the anti-piracy services is absolutely key to match the pirates step by step, if you like.
So they must be pretty technically adept, because I've seen the number of technology companies that are here at NEM, providing the services to a lot of streaming channels and AVODs and SVODs. There must be an equivalent expertise in the black market, if you like.
Unfortunately, there is, and there's also these days there's a number of sort of pirate turnkey ready to go solutions that are available, which of course lowers that barrier to entry and means that the tools to get pirates off and running are actually sort of available in certain places. And that, of course, means that pirates are able to build some fairly compelling websites. These websites will typically attract consumers. They'll attract people that it looks genuine, it feels genuine. That the best ones now have sort of support channels and pop up. How can I help you, bots and all the rest of it. So on the face of it, it's a pretty legitimate type of business. But of course, the risks are more than for the consumer are more than just having your content turned off when the piracy ring gets shut down, because there's quite a lot of the piracy applications and that type of thing tend to put additional sort of malware and types of software onto the unsuspecting consumer's device as well.
So is the problem getting worse? And if so, why?
Well, I think it's a great question, and one that we often look at. I mean, if we look at the overall sort of growth that I touched on right at the top, we're seeing more cinema releases go direct to streaming, and that is a particular thing around the whole PVOD piece. Means that whereas at one time your copy of the latest cinema release would be based on somebody with a camera in a cinema, now it's a fully rendered, full scale digital version. So in that regard, premium content is obviously getting pirated straight away, and we saw recently the release of Black Widow, which was clearly heralded as being pirated in locations where it was yet to be released, let alone offered. It takes pace, and it continues to take pace with the industry, and so as the industry changes, the pirates very, very quickly follow, and as we see that expansion, we'll see it expand as well.
With more and more digital channels, it's presumably easier to pirate from digital as opposed to linear. Is that a fair comment? Or?
Yeah, I mean, fundamentally, I don't think there's a lot in it. I mentioned, unfortunately, there's you can get access to the tools relatively sort of easily for those that are intent on doing so. What does become relevant is that if you look at it, so piracy of linear live sports and that sort of stuff, then that's really where those effective content protection measures really need to be in place. So with things like watermarking and so on and so forth, you can quickly detect when there is a leak and take very, very quick action to address the problem. And that's particularly critical when you're talking about live sports and all the rest of it, where time really is of the essence.
Yeah. So I mean, you mentioned a couple of the approaches there. What can the industry do about it? As surely as piracy gets more sophisticated, you must have more effective systems being developed to stay one step ahead of them.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think the first thing to say is that with piracy, it's no single fix. I don't think any organization is able to fix it completely themselves. It relies on these industry collaborations and consortia that we're a member of here in Europe, in Latin America, and also in Asia. And in those consortia, each partner brings very much their own expertise, and that comes across vendors such as ourselves. It comes across content owners, content producers, law enforcement agencies. So the recent case I touched on, the Rapid IPTV case, we were working with Eurojust and Europol, and the sort of the main sort of bodies, as well as the content owners and the rights holders and so on and so forth. And with NAGRA, we're looking, or our intelligence systems are continually scanning for where these pirate sites are, what they're doing. And then we take that and a whole load of other data to conflate it and really build a relationship map of how everything fits together. And then when you take that and you add it to some of the information from the content producers and then share that with the law enforcement people, that's how you then build that overall picture.
Well, I'm sure we'll do a full show dedicated to the issue. I know we're just having a quick chat now, but I know that it's a big issue, not just in this region, but all around the world. I'm sure we could go into a lot more detail in it. But in the meantime, thanks, Tim, for giving us a glimpse of the problem and what might be done to address it.
No problem. Happy to be here. Thanks very much.
Well, that's about it for this week's show. As always, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed a little bit of the real-world market experience. Don't forget to rate and subscribe to TellyCast and share it with friends and colleagues. And a quick reminder to sign up for our free newsletter called TellyCast Plus. It's packed with interesting TV industry stories of the week you might have missed, downloadable reports and surveys, and exclusive insight and opinion. And it's all completely free. Just visit our website to sign up at telecast-podcast.com. That's telecast-podcast.com. And you can also follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Telecast was edited by Ian Chambers and recorded in Dubrovnik. So until next Thursday, as always, stay safe.